Hi, it's Marianne for the Crafty Mavens, and today I have a Scraplift Saturday for you, and I decided to scraplift a page by Audrey Yeager. She did a video series at Christmas, and one of those pages I really loved. It has a cut file that she designed for the Hit Kit Club, and I didn't use that cut file, but I had one that was similar in my own silhouette library, so I went with that. It's called Sketchy Bough, and I linked it up also in the comment section. Also, I linked up Audrey's video, if you want to take a look at that. So in Audrey's piece, she has a big plaid on her layout, so I went with also a big plaid. She has a red. I picked a black. I think they're both by Crate, the Fa La La collection. And also for the Crafty Mavens, the January inspiration piece had some pine tree branches. So, and they also had little birds. I thought I might use this pink paper on my layout, but I just didn't want any pink. So no birds on my layout this time, but for the inspiration piece I did pick the pine tree. So right now I'm going through my stuff. I'm looking for something to back my photo with, and I found this cute little polka dot print. I believe it's by October Afternoon. I do have a hard time parting with anything that's polka dot. I'm not really sure why, but I decided to go for it in this instance. I actually cut into a piece of it. Finally, go me. I mean, I'm sure I've had that piece of paper for a while. So I'm just going to mat my photo on that. And I think the original piece of plaid that I have, I cut at 7 inches. And when I lay it down on my layout, it's just too wide. So I used the other piece, which was 5 inches. I ended up going with that. And I had cut 3 pine branches of the cut file. I made one a little bit smaller, so I just ended up using one big piece and one smaller piece. I think in Audrey's layout, she had quite a few, but I just liked the sparseness of just 2. And I went through the ephemera pack from the Fa La La collection, and I picked a few pieces that I thought might work. In the end, I settled on some gold pieces and a big ornament piece that when I laid it down on my layout, it kind of just like went on top of the pine branch, and I was like, oh, I know, I'll have it be an ornament. I didn't plan that out. It just kind of happened. So that was good. So that kind of determined that the rest of the layout was going to have some gold on it and maybe just the black. So I looked through, I had the matching chipboard to the Fa La La collection, and I picked a gold title that was just said Merry Christmas. So that's going to be the title across the top. I'm going to pick that starburst up top that's gold and a little bit of gold on the ornament. So those are my 3 gold elements. And I think I'm here looking for a layering piece to go underneath the photo. I felt like it needed one more piece. Even though the background of my page is white cardstock, the black plaid is a little bit cream. So I am mixing white and cream together, which is okay. So I found this little piece of pattern paper, and it has the text from A Christmas Carol on it, and I know that my friend Kim gave it to me. Thanks, Kim. If she's watching, I'm sure she knows. She remembers giving it to me. So I'm glad I got a chance to use it. It's actually just the right thing to go on there. So anyway, I'm mixing white and cream together. That doesn't bother me. White's a neutral, cream is a neutral. They all kind of went together on this layout. Not a problem for me. And I wanted to ink the edges because I felt like it needed a little contrast there. My stuff is still kind of packed up. I've been away for a few weekends scrapbooking with a few different groups of people, which was a lot of fun. But my stuff still isn't unpacked. So I kind of had to go with whatever I could lay my hands on at the moment, and it was, I normally would have reached, I think, for a black ink, but I didn't have one close at hand, so it ends up being, I think, a Distress Oxide pad in, I forget what it's called. It's some kind of, like a spruce green or something like that. I forget. It's one of my favorite colors. The name escapes me right this second. So I just inked the edges there just for a little contrast so that it pops a little bit off the page. And I'm going to use that little joy banner. Just going to put a little foam tape underneath so that it sticks up a little bit. I'm going to glue down the starburst up there. And by the time I get the Merry Christmas chipboard as my title on the page, that probably is as thick as the foam tape I'm using anyway. So if my page ever makes it into an album, it's not going to be that bulky. I do tend to not put my pages into albums. It's kind of right now just easier to store them in one of those containers just because I have so many albums and I'm kind of out of space for them. So, and it's so time consuming to put them all in albums. I know that's kind of silly because, I mean, how else is anybody going to look at all the pages? But I do show my family the finished pages when they're done. They admire them, and then they go into a container. But maybe one of my resolutions this year will be to put them into albums. I'm pretty sure I have the albums. It's not like I even have to go buy them. So anyway, there I'm just gluing down the big ornament right on top of the pine branch. And I'm not really concerned with getting every last piece of that branch glued down. It's glued down fairly good underneath the photo. And then I kind of like the way it sticks up a little bit. But like I said, if it ever goes in a page protector, it will just flatten out anyway. So I thought I was going to need something underneath the title to ground it so that it doesn't just look like it's floating there. And if I had had my washi tape bin right at my hand, I probably would have looked through there maybe and found something to go under there. So I'm going to kind of fiddle with that a little bit and thought maybe some red underneath there. But in the end, I don't like how any of that looks. It calls too much attention up there because really I only have red around the photo. So it's just too much. So I'm going to leave the title as it is. And you can't really see it so very well on the video, but it is pretty glittery. The Merry Christmas, the Starburst, and the bottom part of that ornament down there. So instead, to bring red to the layout, I am going to use enamel dots. Big surprise there. So now I'm working on the other side of the photo there. I do know I want a journaling spot and maybe just a few little sayings over there. I think Audrey also had something similar in her layout, but hers was definitely a lot more detailed than mine, I feel like. So I'm just going to look through whatever I have sitting here, see if one of those October afternoon journaling spots fits. They all really fit. That red one was just a little too big. So I'm just going to, I do like that tab. Just going to keep looking to find the perfect thing. I liked that Noel. It was just the right color. And then I think I find one that says Traditions, perhaps. It was a red one that kind of is like a speech bubble. Yeah, there it is. I'm just going to cut that little tail part off. So it says Noel, Tradition, and I think I get rid of that Christmas cheer one and just put a little journaling spot there instead. I'm off looking for just the right thing. So it was a pretty quick layout. I'm really happy with how it came together. And I do take a few photos at Christmas, but invariably the only one I end up scrapbooking is the Christmas tree. I'm not really sure where that is. I'll have to look on my phone and maybe print some other pictures. My daughters are older now, so I don't always take a bunch of Christmas morning photos. I tend to drink in the moments, I want to say. I'm not worried about documenting it so much with a photo. I'm more interested in sitting there and just kind of like taking it all in. I think I did take 1 or 2 photos this year, though, so I probably should scrapbook those. So I'm just looking through my enamel dots. I found some red ones, so I'm going to use those around the page. This particular set I picked doesn't have those teeny tiny ones. I really do like those ones, but I didn't have them for this page, and that's okay. It's really just a very minor detail. So I'm just going to make do with what I have right here right now. I'm just going to put it in 3 spots around the page to make a visual triangle, and then I'm going to journal a teeny tiny bit. I think I'm just going to say something about how the glow of the Christmas tree brings peace to a normally chaotic season. And I was afraid to use my Zig marker because the journaling spot was a little glossy. So I wanted to make sure that what I wrote didn't smear all over the place. So I just grabbed my Sharpie pen and just a tiny bit of journaling. So thanks, Audrey, for the inspiration. And I hope you'll get a chance to check out her work. I'm really inspired by everything she creates. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.